Welcome to Lean to the Left, home of no-holds-barred commentary, plus interviews with fascinating people, some of them top experts, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at Lean to the Left. Now here's your host, Bob Gaddy.
Ebony Parson, she's just 28 years old, died September 14, 2013, in a Conway, South Carolina bingo parlor. She was shot to death by an estranged lover, who then killed himself with his own shotgun. Ebony was one of nearly 20 people per minute who are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. Unfortunately, her abuser, a jealous former boyfriend, took her life. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so today we have with us Ebony's sister, Gwendolyn Reed, founder of Ebony's Hope, which she started a year after her sister's tragic death. The organization's goal is to inspire, educate, and help citizens and to reduce the number of domestic violence murders and other crimes. Gwen, thanks for being with us today on the Lean to the Left podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So it's my pleasure. First, can you tell us, Gwen, what happened to Ebony and why did it happen?
Ebony was shot and killed by her estranged boyfriend, as you said. 10 days prior to him killing her, going inside that bingo, he had kidnapped and beaten her. At the time of Ebony's death, the laws that are in place now weren't in place. Resources wasn't as well known. So we did what we know what to do with Ebony to, for her to leave and live. Unfortunately, he had it in him to kill Ebony. I won't say so much to kill himself. I think that was an afterthought because 3 days before he killed Ebony, he let his family knew that he was going to kill her, and nobody told us. So as I was saying, Ebony was sitting in a bingo parlor 10 days after Kevin Register had beaten and kidnapped her, was arrested and released on bond with a no contact clause in the bond conditions. However, he still walked into that bingo on that night and put the shotgun to Ebony's head and blew it off.
Oh my God. So this was a situation that had been ongoing. This guy, she was in a relationship with him. He was violent in this relationship. He was told to stay away from her. There was an order ordering him to stay away from her. And yet he did this. Is that correct? Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. It was an escalating situation with Ebony. She had called the law enforcement several times. She was told that if she had called 911 anymore, she would be prosecuted.
Holy what?
For misuse of 911, I guess because she was going back. I don't know the details of that. I just knew that she was told not to call them anymore. The Tuesday before Ebony was killed, that Saturday, law enforcement was called because he was threatening her and he was walking around my sister's house where we thought was a safe place. And a part of it was no contact. But when police came in, they mishandled the situation in what we see so often. They were going to arrest Ebony until my siblings and her had to say, wait, he's contacting me. And I think that's part of the reason, the handling of various DV cases, the knowledge of resources and, educating survivors. So, there was a lot of balls dropped on Ebony's behalf. I think even myself as a family member, I can say that I saw the signs, but I chose not to really be like, he's not, we think that, hey, he will not try it. Ebony's one of 15 children. Ooh. So you wouldn't think that this young man would, we had that misconception that he's not going to come do anything because he would get his butt kicked, for lack of better words.
Sure.
But at the time of when they removed Kevin Register's body out of that bingo parlor, he had shot Ebony in her back and in her head, and he had shot himself one time. He still had 23 bullets on him, on his person for that shotgun. The shotgun that Kevin Register, a convicted felon, had was reported stolen and sold at a yard sale. So that is some of the things that I believe that we need to be educated on different things. I just believe that, had we known the resources as a family to know not to let her do the things that she was doing, had she had a victim advocate, had we known about a safe haven, had we known about several different things, maybe we could have done something different. And that's just how I feel. And Ebony Hope is my sorry to her. I don't know what else I could have done different to save my mama baby.
Gwen, that must have thrown you into just a whole heck of a lot of guilt. I mean, you tried and you tried and you tried and you tried, and yet this happened. And so you turned that into Ebony's Hope, right?
I did. Ebony Hope is just basically me wanting the community to know, and citizens and victims to know, that they're not alone, that there's resources here for family members to know that there's help out here in the community. So they won't end up another Ebony. Because I don't want that for anybody. I cry for my sister sometime 1 or 2 times a week.
I can see that.
I cry for my mom. I cry for, again, Ebony Hope is my daily sorry. If I saved one person, then I did okay with this tragedy.
Ebony's Hope is your daily sorry.
It's my daily sorry.
Wow. Now, you said that Ebony didn't know what resources were available to her and that you didn't either. Now, and so so your organization is trying to help with that. What resources are you talking about?
We didn't know about I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay, sweet. It's okay. It's okay.
We didn't know about a victim advocate. We didn't know that.
There wasn't a victim advocate available at that time?
I think after Ebony was killed, it was released officially that Ebony's death was preventable.
Okay.
And I asked by who? Because we did what we knew to do. Sure. And that was to stand. So Ebony Hope is about I do several things throughout the years with victims, with supplying resources from Ebony's Hope. But on the last Saturday of October, I do a huge event on the courthouse lawn in Conway, where I ask other organizations that help women and children and men who've been victim and their family with domestic violence. It does no good to have the resources if the community don't know about it. So Ebony Hope acts as liaison between the community and the resources, because we want them to use it. I want a woman to leave and live. I don't want a family 9 years down the road to feel like how I feel. Or not just me. Again, Ebony was one of 15 children. We're one of 15 children born on a planet. We grew up, we grew up in poverty, but we knew how to take care of each other. We knew how to get through with each other. And that's my biggest thing. And even though it was 15 of us, I think each of us, all my mom, I never heard my mom holler. Like my mother hollered at night. She came to that bingo parlor.
Oh.
The way that my mom hollered, because my father was shot and killed. My mother was 29 years old with 15 of us. We knew how to stick together. But the way my mother called out to God that night and asked God, I never asked you for riches. I just asked you to take care of these kids.
Oh my God.
And I don't wish that on another family. I don't wish that echoing of what I heard and walking my family to the sidewalk. And my sister witnessed Ebony being killed.
Your sister saw it?
My sister was in the bingo when Ebony was killed. So, and we were 3 minutes away. So we all got there before, and we stayed until they wheeled her, till they took her away. We stayed.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. It's just awful. But what you're doing, you should be really proud of what you're doing. And I hope that Ebony's Hope makes an impact for other people, because I know that's what you want. And that is the legacy that you want for your sister, correct?
I do.
Yeah.
I definitely want to leave a she created a legacy in life. What we want to do with Ebony's Hope is prevent as much death, as much tragedy as we could.
Gwen, how old were you when this happened? Because you're a young woman now. So how old?
I was 39.
Oh.
I'm
Really?
11 years. I'm 11 years older than Ebony. She just looks like me.
You're kidding me. Mm-hmm. So that makes you
47.
47. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to this in audio, this young woman looks like she's about 25 years old. So, so that's why I'm so surprised. At any rate, let me see, where were we? You've got me all.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Now, there was a state law passed in South Carolina dealing with domestic violence several years ago. Do you know about that? Is there more though that needs to be done, not just here but around the country, to help victims, to help prevent this kind of stuff?
That isn't the law that they passed.
Yeah.
It is a gateway and it is a start on making changes.
Okay.
I think this is the first year that South Carolina as a whole has been not in the top 10 of domestic violence in the country. The country, we are number 11 this year, in fact, according to statistics, where we rank number 11. So there is progress. The laws have made stiffer punishment under certain circumstances. But again, does it do enough? Does it stop? Does it stop them? Does it stop them from beating them, or does it help a victim?
Right.
I can't say that it does, and there needs to be more. There needs to be so much more for victims. We need to take some of the stigma off domestic violence that exists in our country, in our community, and in our state, because we're losing people.
Well, you talked about stigma before when you said that they were going to arrest Ebony for calling 911 too many times. That they didn't believe her.
I at that time, the depth of what Ebony told me, and this is just coming from what she told me, is that I guess she had called them so many times and maybe she dropped the case or what have you. I would tell you, as a family, we suspected a lot of things, but we didn't expect it. I suspected abuse because, like I said, I'm 11 years older than Ebony, and that was my baby. Yeah. That was, and so she was a little distant and stuff, and she started calling the police, and I was like, Ebony, she called me, and he was walking around my sister's house beating on the window.
Oh, jeez.
And so I was like, Ebony, call the police. And I called my sister who was at work and told her to call her neighbor. And so she was like, she wasn't going. The night that he had kidnapped her, and she ran from their house to my sister, that night law enforcement wasn't going to arrest him because he wasn't at the scene of the crime. Mm-hmm. But he kept riding by, rearing up his truck. Right. And so one officer, was like, no, we're not going to do this. And he pulled him over and he arrested him on that night. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been. The night that Tuesday before Ebony was killed, under the conditions of his bonds, he should have been arrested. He should have been arrested for broken condition, but he wasn't. He wasn't. Okay. They said they were going to go to him and come back. They never came back. And when they did came back, they were picking Ebony body up off the bingo floor. So again, they did not come back. And I'm not beating down law enforcement because I don't think law enforcement is trained for domestic violence cases. Needs to be more training in that aspect, or they needed something. There needs to be something. There's a gap there. And again, I'm not beating them down, but I just say that just as I failed Ebony, I believe the judicial system failed my sister way more.
Well, that's apparent. So you say that you feel like they're not trained. So would you say that there needs to be more, for example, counseling, psychological assistance made available to the police departments who have to deal with these kinds of calls?
Well, I do, because even with law enforcement, again, I'm not saying those individuals. What I will say is they're not trained in it, and even for law enforcement, I will say this: that is very dangerous. Here in Conway, we've lost a law officer Gerald going to helping somebody in the DV system. He was shot and killed. So we've lost police. DV calls are one of the most dangerous calls for an officer to go in. But oftentimes when they go into one and there is an act of violence or whatever, and it doesn't get volatile, they would either separate and be like, you go this way, you go that way. Right. I think there needs to be a training on how to properly address them, to address the situation. But again, we can't forego that law enforcement has to protect their own safety too, because it is volatile and it could, we've seen it happen to her. We just saw it a couple of years ago in Florence where 3 officers were killed answering, on a call. So we have to be very careful, but there needs to be a little more in-depth training and education on how to handle these calls, how to handle the victims, and that so that we don't re-victimize them. Because if you tell somebody who's getting their butt beat, if you call again, you're going to jail, I'm not going to call you again. I'm going to take my behind whooping. Sure. I don't think that's right.
Right. Exactly. Now, so what are you guys, what's Ebony's Hope doing to try to help this situation? I know you're having this event you said October 27th in Conway.
29th.
29th, October 29th. Mm-hmm. And explain again what it is.
It is on October the 29th, I'm having Ebony's Hope 9th Annual Domestic Violence Awareness Rally. And what I do is exactly what Ebony Mission is. It is I bring different organizations in the community that help victims of domestic violence or different things. We invite the law enforcement. We invite Family Justice, who's our main headquarters. We invite Rape Crisis. We invite a number of therapists, different organizations, legal assistance, whatever it is that I believe that my sister needed to live. So on that day, it's a completely free day. We have games out there. We have the resources out there. We have food out there. We give each child a hat and glove. We do household baskets. It's a free day to get to bring the community with the resources, so they know that they're not out here alone, that there's help out here. Even if you don't use it on the day of that event, you become educated on the resources out here in Horry County, Georgetown County, or wherever. Here's help here.
Where exactly in Conway will this be held?
It's held on the old courthouse lawn at 1201 3rd Avenue South. It's the old Horry County Courthouse in Conway.
Aside from that, how can the community get involved with helping out the situation?
The community can get involved with Ebony Hope is basically, I do get some donation, but it's mainly funded through myself. And I put 20% of my business income into that business so I can provide emergency shelter, rental assistance if they need to go to school. If I can't partner with like the adult education that helps us out with educational goals or what have you, they can get involved they can come out and just support. There will be a lot of the clientele that I've helped and victims and their family will be on the ground. They're not point out, but it is a day that, we wrap ourselves around the community. The people in the community help the victims so they feel like they're not alone. I don't point them out and say, hey, it's this and that, because what I've learned is that women or men are more likely to get the resources in a fun environment. So that's what Ebony Hope is. On that day, we bring everybody out to just educate the community and to be a part of it however they can. If they want to donate to Ebony's Hope and its cause, that is available. If they want to volunteer, that is available as well. I'm currently looking for more volunteers because it gets tiring.
Sure.
It gets a lot.
How can people reach out to you to either donate or volunteer?
They can call me at 843-450-4976. They can donate via PayPal at Ebony's Hope 428@gmail.com, or make a check out to Ebony's Hope, or just donate supplies, or we do the trunk or treat. So there is an opportunity to participate in that trunk or treat. We make it really fun.
Okay.
So the way that we have it structured is that it's a trunk or treat, but it's so that an abuser won't come out there and cut out. It's structured under family fun for the safe environment. So if somebody pick up that flyer and say, "Oh, you're going to a trunk or treat," they'll see that, opposed to everything else. We sign kids up for Christmas at that event. We do a number of things.
Okay. Is Ebony's Hope, an official charitable organization? 501c?
Yes. All donation is tax deductible to Ebony's Hope.
Okay, that's important. All right. So let's see here. If someone is a victim of domestic violence, Gwen, what should they do?
If you're in adamant danger, please call 911.
Okay.
If you call 911 and get law enforcement out there. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that number is 1-800-799-7233.
Okay.
Good. We also have Family Justice here in Horry and Georgetown County that service. I think Horry, Georgetown, and Williamsburg County. But that national hotline, no matter where you are in the world, if you call that, they will put you in contact with your local assistance.
Okay. That's really important, because we have listeners all over the place, and not just in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that everyone who cares about this kind of tragic situation will be touched by your story, Gwen, and what you're doing. Now, you're the co-author of Fortitude of an Overcomer. What is that? Sir. What is that?
Fortitude of an Overcomer is a book of collective of other writers who have been through something in their life. And so collectively, 11 of us got together and wrote The Fortitude of an Overcomer. And the experience that we had encouraging people that, with perseverance, determination, that you can overcome anything. For me personally, it was, it means, in my section of it, I wrote about my sister's story. I wrote about some of my life plights, because a lot of times people think that when you come before them with domestic violence, or you come before them saying you can get over things, that you can't. For me, I wrote about getting over Ebony's death and how hard it was for me to be able to look in the mirror every day, because she looked like me. And for me, I didn't think that I was beautiful. I thought that my beauty was tied up in Ebony. So when Ebony was killed, I searched for my beauty, because I took her a college entry test. I took her high school GED test. I was there for her for whatever she was going through in her life. And so once they took her, I was like,
oh, wait a minute now. Are you admitting? I did.
I really did. I went to Horry Joyce. She was going for sonography. And Ebony was like, "Okay, go take this test for me." And I was like, "Okay, Ebony, I'm going to go." Because we look alike. If you look at the pictures, we look alike. So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go." And she's like, my family calls me Tanya. She's like, "All right, Tanya, go in there and act like me." I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to go in there and act like you." So I went and I took the test. So I got her classes, and I brought her back the classes that she got into. And she was like, "I told you go in there and act like me." And I'm like, "I did. I missed some questions." She was like, "You're going to take these classes right here online, because I told you to go in there and act like me." So it was just so funny that, it was just, that was my baby. We would stay up, sing and stuff. So I just wanted them to know that, it's just getting over. I promise you, I would have never been out here in a public arena had God not taken Ebony, allow her to go. I would have been just happy in my little square of the world, laughing and doing whatever she told me to do. Even though I was 11 years older than her, she was constantly saying, "You're book smart, but you're," excuse my French, can I say it?
Say what you want.
She would say, "You're book smart, but you're green as hell. I told you to go in here and act like me." So it was just, those are the things that bring tears to my eyes. Just,
this was a young. She's 11 years older than you, and she's telling you you're green as hell.
Yeah, I'm older. She was like, "You're green as hell, like you're book smart," and it's so funny because I know I'm book smart, but I'm a little gullible. But I had to, I didn't have to because she had a lot of mouth. Okay. She was mouthy. She was gonna tell you what it was, and that's what it was. But I mean, and I promise you, I miss my sister. I know my family, her nieces, and she was a handful. We had, as a family, we would have rap off. Now my mom got 15 kids. Everybody sings but me. I sound like a dead dog. So I started low budget records with Ebony. So my brother-in-law was a CEO. I was an executive director. We would have rappers send us their CEO, and we would make them think that they got a label. But you had to sound awful. You couldn't come singing because I can't sing. They sung. And so, my sister just wrote, "It's time for a low budget remix." It's been so hard to get out there and just rap and cut up like we used to because she's not here. We started that together late in the nighttime when we were up talking or whatever. I would just rap. And I sound awful rapping as well. But it was happy music. It was that music that it didn't have to sound good to you. It felt good. So, we just had, she was that one that would get me into, "Come on, Gwen, we're going to go do such and such." I'm like, "All right." Or, "Come on, girl." I'm like, "Girl, I'm not going." But she would always, you would think that she was the oldest. Because, I kind of followed around. I did. I kind of followed her around. She just had big personality in our family. She's just so, I have 43 nieces and nephews. She's just sorely missed in our family of cutting up, rapping, and it just don't fit for me. I mean, we still get together, but for me, it just seemed like, we had that empty chair. That empty, but she was, oh my God, I promise you, those who met her know the love and aspiration, but the world really missed a treat. He really took a gem.
Oh,
he really did. But you would have loved us. I'm going to rap for you one time. I'm going to send it to you. Don't put it on the air.
Okay, go ahead.
You're going to lose all your audience.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you're not going to do it? Okay. All right. Well, that's too bad. Ladies and gentlemen, you're missing out on something, I'm sure. Now, where can people get a hold of this Fortitude of an Overcomer book?
It is on Amazon. You can buy it off Amazon. It was self-published by one of the authors, Otiti Wabe. She is a life coach.
Okay.
So it is an amazing book. It is an amazing book for anybody who has been through, who feel like they can't get through. I stand to say that, what, you can. It's you get you some people that just love on you. You can. You really can. You can overcome almost anything but death.
Gwen, what kind of business do you have that you're able to fund this program? What do you mean? Which one? How many businesses do you have?
I work. I literally am a worker. I'm not a big sleeper, so I work. I do tax preparation. I do bookkeeping, and I have a cleaning service. So I believe that
you have a cleaning service.
Yes.
So you have people that work for you in this cleaning business, correct?
I clean too. Yes.
Oh, you do. So you are indeed a worker, and you are putting 20%. I want to make sure people understand this. This young woman is putting 20% of her business income into this Ebony's Hope program. So if she could do that, you guys can cough up a few bucks. So come on, let's do it. Let's send some love to Gwen and to Ebony's Hope. Okay. All right. So Gwen, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being with us. You got anything else you want to tell us before we sign off? I made you cry a couple of times. So.
I'm a crybaby. But no, I didn't think I was gonna cry. I was so ready for you. Then I got over here and it was like, okay, here we go again. I'm fucking the water.
Oh, you did great.
But I do apologize for that.
No apology.
But it's been 9 years, but it feels like yesterday, especially,
Yeah.
The only thing else I would tell somebody, if you see something, if you think something, is I'd rather you be wrong than to be right and you sit in its place. Because I had England and I thought but I was told you're just jealous because she's not around you as much. And I was jealous. So I was like, well, maybe. Yeah. But had I listened to myself more so than, hey, you're just jealous because she's not under you, I don't know what would have happened. But I'd rather you make a mistake with reporting it or saying something to them than for you to be burying your baby sister.
Okay.
So if you see something, think something, do something. Okay. Don't be me. But I thank you for having me. I thank you for bringing awareness to domestic violence, because we have to be more educated. And I will strengthen that. Making kids aware of it. A child that witnessed domestic violence is more likely to be an abuser or a victim. So that's why I kind of focus on the women and the children. So just let the community know that if you see something, you do something. If there is that one thing may save a life.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this Lean to the Left video, and you'll come back on a regular basis and check out our interviews with guests on topics that I hope you find interesting, entertaining, and enlightening. Our audio interviews stream weekly on Mondays, and depending on what's going on, also on Thursdays. And many are also produced as videos like this one. In addition, we provide narrations of much of the commentary published on the Lean to the Left blog. Commentary by some excellent writers with perspectives on a whole range of topics. Now you can sign up as a member at leantotheleft.net. And of course, it's all free. Also, let your friends know about this podcast and take a minute to subscribe. Just go to podcast.leantotheleft.net and you can subscribe there. You can also check out the upcoming interview schedule, and you can listen to all of our episodes too. You can also support this podcast by clicking on the Donate tab at the top of the page, where you'll find links to buy me a cup of coffee and also PayPal. Follow us on social media. Facebook at the Lean to the Left Podcast, Twitter at Lean to the Left 1, Instagram at Not Fake News. Now remember, our goal is to be informative and entertaining as we comment on the latest developments in the news. You guessed it, with just a little lean to the left. Now this is Bob Gaddy signing off for Lean to the Left. Thanks for sharing your time with us.